Back here, another episode of the Terp Talk podcast. Jordan, late night Wednesday recording. Let's get after it.
Yeah, we got a lot to cover this late night, Mason. Busy week in Terpstone, despite the fact we don't have a game this weekend. So lots to dive into. But first, a new sponsor enters the fold for the Terp Talk podcast.
Viener X is today's podcast sponsor. If you're looking to take your IT for enterprise to the next level, visit VienerX.com. Jordan, let's get straight into it. The Terps land a big basketball recruit.
Yes, they do. The second recruit of the Buzz Williams era, or let me rephrase that, the second full cycle recruit of the Buzz Williams era. I'm going to try to pronounce this name. I apologize if it's wrong. Adama Tambo, we're just going to call him AT, a forward from Springfield, Massachusetts, but originally from Senegal. Mason, another small ball big, 6'7", kind of fits the power forward center mold. He fits the Buzz Williams play style. For those who don't know, Buzz Williams plays a lot of small ball, short guys in the front court that can rebound. Last year, Texas A&M led the country in offensive rebounds. A bit of a raw prospect here, Mason, but a four-star. One thing to note, Terps fans, that at least I picked up on, is Buzz seems pretty adamant in getting freshmen in here, despite the fact it's not very common in the modern era.
He's a program builder. He still wants to build it the old-fashioned way. I'm all for it. Load the roster up with talent. Let Buzz develop these guys. You don't see him much in college basketball, but there's one thing that I can say. I'm pretty confident it will win if he can keep continuity on the basketball court.
I mean, especially these days. I saw a statistic, Mason, and as I said, everybody, when we get to basketball, don't worry, I'll talk. Basketball is my game. But I saw a statistic recently, that I believe the highest retention rate among Power 4 teams, Power 5 in basketball, is like only 70%, and I think it's Purdue. But most are under 50% right now, which is just a mind-blowing statistic. Although, for those who follow college basketball, I mean, just look at the Terps. We don't have a single guy from the roster last season.
One guy.
Yes, one guy. But yes, a very physical big here. Needs to work on some offense. He's a bit raw, which might point to why he didn't get a ton of super high-profile offers. I mean, his visit before Maryland was Texas State. I'm not going to take that away from him. As I know as well as anybody, you find good basketball players at all levels, and it's really easy to miss people in scouting, especially in basketball. I mean, if you're not an early bloomer in basketball these days, you're just not cracking the radar. These kids are high-profile prospects by the time they're 14 now, which is nothing new, frankly, but very hard player. Did exchange a couple messages with him. He seems like a good kid. Hopefully, he comes and works hard. He fits very well with the profile, though, of the other recruit the Terps landed in Austin Brown. I mean, Buzz knows what he wants. That's what you got to know, Mason. This is his, I'm thinking here, fourth Power 5 school so far. You know what you're going to get with him. Let's hope it works out. We haven't talked about basketball yet this season, and honestly, I'm a little bit skeptical of the roster, but I'm excited to see what Buzz brings to the table.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I like the approach. I like what he's doing. I like the group of guys that he's assembling, and really, really looking forward to seeing the Terps on the court this year and then what Buzz can build. Like I said, he's a guy who's going to look to build a program. He's going to find players that mix into that. We're not really short on resources when it comes to basketball, despite maybe what other people, Kevin Willard, might have thought before. But I've seen it. I see the vision, and I'm liking what Buzz is going to bring to Xfinity Center.
Yes, and sometime soon, there's not a day announced yet, but sometime soon we will be touring the new basketball facility, Mason. So once we do that, we'll have a lot of video content on the YouTube channel. We'll be there. We'll talk about it. Basketball season is coming soon, and believe me, we are ready for it here at Terp Talk.
And I think that will wrap basketball up for now. Now let's take it to our interview with Sidney Stewart. Now we welcome Sidney Stewart onto the pod. Sid, thanks for taking the time. Nice having you.
For sure. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you. Our first question, and it's one Mason and I talked about a lot. They call you the Young Bull, like everywhere. How did you get the nickname?
Okay. It's a great question. So, like my dad's side of the family is from Philly. So I don't know if you've ever been or know anybody from there, but a lot of times when they say young boy, because of the accent, it comes off as like bull. And then so it's just kind of a play on words like young bull. And I just, I kind of just stuck with that since like growing up.
And then Sidney,
No,
the
it's interesting.
celebration that goes with it. How'd that come about?
That was just some experimenting preseason. So, I kind of had a gut feeling I was going to be able to get to the quarterback. It's something I've been doing for the greater half of my life. So, I was thinking about some sack sellies because that's kind of more cool than the sack itself. So, I was like, let me do the bullhorns. Some people didn't like it, but I had a gut feeling that it was something that was cool. So I stuck with it, and yeah.
So actually, I'm gonna hop back there, Sidney, because I lived in Philly for about 5 years, actually, until like last
Yeah.
week.
Oh.
So I noticed Zahir Mathis also from Philly. Your dad from Philly. Is there a connection there? You guys bond on that?
I mean, I know I've been to Philly a lot of my life, so I know a lot of places. I mean, I don't know. We never really spoke on it, but I could listen and read through his accent, so I know that much.
Sidney, bouncing back to the answer about the celebration and the nickname, you mentioned you've been doing it for more than half of your life, getting after the quarterback. What was that moment, if you have one, where you kind of knew, like, this is what I want to do, I've got it? What was that moment for you?
Yeah, so I actually like in rec I had played running back and middle linebacker. So uh like going into eighth grade and going on ninth, I was like geared to play middle linebacker. I put on a little bit of weight, a little bit more than I wanted to, and so I got moved to edge. And then as I was playing edge, I realized I was pretty shifty. Like my dad played power forward, so he know how to work in a confined amount of space and stuff. So uh, I was just able to get jiggy, and it was just better. And then fortunately, it's one of the more important positions. So I just was glad that I ended up switching because it's something I'm good at, and it provides a lot of value to teams.
So Sid, looking at your recruiting profile, coming from Towson, you had quite a few offers though from some power conference schools. Why did you go to Maryland?
So yeah, we I feel as if we're building something here at Maryland, and I had a feeling as to what was going down because of the guys who kind of assembled, kind of like the Avengers, who was like, all right, let's put something together. A lot of it, and all of us is young, so growing up, uh, I've said this a lot. I never really watched Maryland football or really any Maryland sports, and I think that's a shame because a lot of kids maybe in like Michigan or Alabama or even Cali or like they probably have a different sentiment. They probably grew up loving USC or Georgia or you know what I'm saying. So I just feel like if we could flip the script on that, that'd be amazing. And if it starts with us, that'd be even cooler. So we were like, let's try to put something together. I mean, we all from here, we all talented. People don't really consider Maryland as a football state, but really genuinely I think we the best at all sports. If you look at our athletic resume, a bunch of our teams are ranked, you know what I'm saying? So I just think if we could add the football team to that, that'd be great.
So take me inside that Avengers group that you mentioned. Who's the serious one? Who's locked in every day? Who's the juice guy? Take me inside that group.
Yeah, okay. I'll say the funny man, the jokester, little goofball is probably my roommate Rocket Ivy. So yeah, he helped convince me to come here a lot. Iron Man, I'm gonna go ahead and throw that delete. Yeah, he had got a little Tony Stark in him. Captain America, that might be me, honestly. I would love to be the Hulk, but I might be Captain America for real, for real.
Okay.
The Hulk, I don't know. Well, Dalmar. Dalmar White. No, that's actually easy. I thought that was hard. Dalmar White is definitely the Hulk. That man has superhuman strength. Um, and who else? Hawkeye. I don't want to disrespect none of my guys and make them Hawkeye. None of them is really Hawkeye.
All right. Who's Black Panther? Let's get a cool one then.
Oh, who the Michelin man? That'd probably be Jay Gilly, Jalen Gilchrist. Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. You could throw Bryce Jenkins. Maybe he Black Widow. Maybe Bryce is Black Widow, but yeah, just all of our whole freshman class has just played such a huge role, and it's just so cool to see. It really is like superhuman talent. Some of these guys, like I look at them do some stuff that I wish I could replicate. that I can't, and they probably could say the same thing on their end. So
All right. So I know a big part of this movement, because like for those who have followed Maryland for a while, like us, kids have tried to kind of build this momentum before, and this seems to be the most successful version of this kind of DMD stays in Maryland group. Do you think it's bleeding over to the next class? Because that's where I think you really start to build traction. Is that next wave coming in after you guys?
yeah, I agree 100%. I think we have a lot of moving pieces behind the scenes, and I mean, guys are liking what they see. Uh, not only is it cool to see a team that you're from have success, but the success a lot be on the back of freshmen. You know what I'm saying? That kind of lets you know that the school is willing to play you if you have the talents and you have the ability. So, which is what a lot of people want to do now. People start training younger. They start getting ready to play early. So a lot of people just want to go into the school and play now. It's a really now type of system in college football. So, if that's something you're interested in, I feel like it's something we definitely provide. I think we have. I mean, even if we have a great class already, like with the guys who are contributing to our team, but I wouldn't be surprised if we add a few more pieces to that.
And then Sidney, speaking of that, I think that rolls right into your play this year. You're stacking up the accolades. You're top of the nation. Quarterback pressures are getting home to the quarterback. How do you kind of block out the noise with it, and how do you keep the focus on your grind and not pay too much attention to everything that's going on around you?
For sure. So something coach says a lot is I mean the externals don't really affect anything. I mean I know who I am. I know what's been instilled in me. I know the abilities I have. They're not gonna change regardless of people think I'm not good or people think I am good. So I mean I appreciate all the love, no doubt. Like, to see people proud of what I'm able to do and excited for what I'm able to do and this team as well. It's amazing to see, and I'm grateful forever, 100% grateful for that. But I know who I am, and I know what it is I'm going to do regardless.
So, Sid, kind of on that same note, one thing that at least I've noticed, I think a lot of other people have too, the student turnout this year for you guys has just been phenomenal. Like, it's actually the best I've seen in my entire time as a Maryland fan. I've been watching Maryland for almost 20 years now.
Yeah,
What does it mean to you to have all those kids out there? I mean, you guys are getting like 10, 12, 15,000 students per game right now.
yeah. That just means that we're doing a good job of staying grounded and being socially involved with people. A lot of times sports and athletes, not even just football, kind of tend to separate themselves from the general student population. So I just think that goes to show we're doing a great job of just bleeding over and interacting with everyone, regardless of who you are.
And Sid, talk to us about Zahir Mathis. He's on the other side of the line from you. You guys are getting home to the quarterback together. It seems like every time that the defense needs a big play, it's either you or Zahir delivering on it. Just talk to us a little bit about his game, how he plays off of you, and your relationship with him as a teammate on the other side of the line.
Sure. So I feel like we complement and contrast each other so perfectly. He 6'6", 6'5", I don't know. He's tall. I'm more on the shorter end of for edge rusher, 6'2.5", 6'3" maybe. So uh our games, he's lankier. He's able to use his length to his advantage. I kind of am able to get up under guys. So like, and we both athletic. I would love to think I'm athletic. So yeah, I think we just complement and contrast perfectly. It reminds me a lot of Dennis Sutton, and Abdul Carter, what they had going on at Penn State last year. I trained with Sutton actually, so I know that as me and Zah continue to grow, that we'll definitely be able to you know put on tape some of the stuff they were able to do.
So another teammate we kind of wanted to talk to you about, Sid, is Daniel Wingate, Big Ten Defense Player of the Week, a phenomenal season from that dude. Just talk about what he's done for the defense as his leader.
Yeah, so I actually don't even refer to him as Daniel Wingate. Every time I talk to him, I gotta put a Mister in front of it. It's either Mr. Wingate, Mr. Buttkiss, Mr. Big Ten. You know what I'm saying? He's just so profound that you gotta put a Mister in front of his name. I love Wingate. He's a great leader. He knows how to take accountability and he knows how to dish it out. Like, so, he's vocal. Yeah, he's comfortable in intense situations. Wingate is an all around. I might have to bump Leak down and make him Iron Man because no, Wingate does a great job of just communicating to everybody, making sure everybody is in the right place, and I can just trust on him. He knows the plays, he knows his job plus Wingate is everything his stats are showing and more because even plays that he might not record a stat, he has an impact in some way.
Well, bouncing off the Terps right now. So your family background is very uniquely athletic. I mean, your dad was an NBA player, played all around the world, coach at Coppin State. Now, talk about your relationship with him and how it's kind of shaped you as an athlete.
Yeah, so well, one, I love my dad. I love you, Dad. Two, my dad, him being a basketball player, I kind of was told recently through a scouting report that they could tell my basketball history through the way I play in tight spaces. Like I said, he played power forward, so he could spin off of guys, and he was able to jab step and go use a triple threat well. So I think just being able to draw from other sports has made me so much better. And him being a coach has helped me understand how to interact with my coaches, how to take coaching well, and just how to be a better spokesperson. I think his skills, along with my mom, who even though she didn't play sports, she's very profound. She knows how to speak well. Just them both just feeding into me has allowed me to become not only great on the field, but I think even better off the field sometimes.
Sid, you mentioned coaching. I got to ask you about your coach, Ted Monachino. He comes in, he's developed all these NFL guys that play your position. What has he kind of brought to you as a player, and then the scheme as a whole featuring that edge rushing position? Like, how does it all with him on a day-to-day basis, and what has he brought to your game?
For sure. I gotta be careful what I say about Coach. He got some mob ties. I think it might be some mobs going on side now, but I think Coach Monachino is he's generational. I think he's a genius, genuinely, because the way he allows us to be players, but also schemes us up to be in good positions. I just think it's just an all around great balance of aggressiveness, and then just forcing the offense to feel panic and crowded, and then allow their mistakes to just feed our defense. So I mean, I think it's evident in every part of our game. We're able to get after the quarterback. Our linebackers are able to sit running backs down, and our DBs are able to capitalize on mistakes from the quarterback. So I just feel like we're, what I'm saying, and we're great in every area of defense, and we only get better. We're young too, so I think he allows that freshness and that youngness to show itself through just allowing guys to just go be themselves and make plays, not too strict, but also guide you in the right direction. I think Coach Monachino, I don't think it gets any better.
Earlier in the year, we got a chance to talk with Coach Loxley, and somehow it came up just like the third down approach and the third down packages. And Locke said he has so many third down plays, something like he has so many third down plays, he's got stuff I've never seen before. Do you notice that when you're working with him, or does he break it down and make it all so you're just always on the same page?
Uh, I would say there probably is a lot more. There's plenty. There's plenty to go through. But we're well coached, so we know all it is that is asked of us. And the further, a lot of times we don't need to even tap into the things we have in store because we're able to just win our one-on-one. So oftentimes you don't have to really run any scheme type plays because you could just trust in the talents that we have. So yeah.
Bouncing back off of football, I'm sure many people know this, right? But you got a talented cousin who's also a Terp, in Derek Queen. What was it like watching him kind of really make his own name at Maryland last year? Big Ten Freshman of the Year, NBA draft pick. He did it all.
Yeah, so DQ is one of the few cousins I grew up with, like genuinely, like talk to very frequently. That's my dog. I said this before. Like I love him. He's very talented, and what I like about DQ's game is that there isn't. He's not a dime like he's a dime a dozen. You know, like his game is the only comparable people are probably like two people in the league, like Embiid and Jokic. And even then, I'd probably argue that he's probably more athletic than Jokic. Like, I just think DQ's game is so cool because it's not as if he's like just another athletic guard, or it's not as if he's just like another, like, you know what I'm saying? You don't come around those type of players often. He can handle, he can bring the ball up the court if he really wanted to. So, it's just cool to see it. And I've been seeing him hoop for forever. So it really ain't a surprise to me. I'm just glad I got the opportunity to finally play and can show I'm better than him.
I like the attitude there. Well, our last one for you, Sid. What do you want to tell Terp Nation? You guys are off to a great start this season. You got a bye week coming up, but you got 2/3 of the season left. What's the message?
The message is that this whole team is excited, and we're just so grateful for the love we've been getting, and we just hope to just keep building off of it, because as much as the externals don't matter, it just still feels great to have a great environment and great support. I feel like Maryland is a great state, and I feel like we've been disrespected, and we're just trying to right those wrongs, and show what it is that Maryland is about, trying to become the we already are a flagship school, but trying to become a school that people can kind of grow up being inspired by.
Thanks for taking the time with us tonight, and good luck against Washington in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all. Have a good night.
And that was our sit down with Sidney Stewart. Jordan, probably one of my favorite current Maryland players that I've ever gotten a chance to talk to here on the pod. I mean, just super, super with it, and he brought some jokes to the table.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing. He might be I'm not going to say the best, but he's very close to the best we've had on here. Just a super nice kid. Really, like you said, had the jokes, was very natural in talking to us. And look, we got some great insight. We might have to call him Daniel Wingate, Mr. Wingate from now on.
There's a couple of things in there that I think I'm going to adopt, but we'll wait for it. Those of you that listen to us here, you'll see them as they come back up.
Absolutely. But yes, great kid. Thank you to everybody at Maryland Communications who helps us get these guys on. We love having them on, and the kids seem to enjoy it too. But Sidney Stewart, man, what a great interview. What a great player. And, hopefully he's a Terp for a long time.
And before we get to the rest of the show, we would like to thank our sponsor, Viener X. Viener X is Maryland made. It started in Rockville more than 30 years ago. And like you, Viener X has grown up with the Terps. Viener X believes in teamwork, preparation, and showing up every day. Values that make Maryland athletics great, and values that help Viener X drive your business's goals. Just like the Terps, Viener X is focused on winning, helping businesses succeed with enterprise technology, human first.
Yes, thank you to Viener X for sponsoring our show. Great business down there. Please check them out, VienerX.com. Mason, the non-rev report, a busy week on the non-rev side, but a very productive one. Start off with women's soccer.
Yeah, the Terps rolling in Big Ten play. Maryland defeats a pair of teams from the Hoosier State in Big Ten play, taking down both Indiana and Purdue by a score of 2-1.
Yes, Mason, the Terps have already hit their highest winning total since 2019, and they got a lot of soccer left to play, 6-4. Next up, the Terps have a bit of a challenge, 2 road games on the West Coast and UCLA and USC. But Mason, look, that program is having its best year, in almost a decade. Like, they are a team to watch at this point.
Yeah, no doubt. A big uptick over the results from last year. Over at field hockey, the Terps still in the top 10 now, number 10 in the coaches poll. They secured a win in their Big Ten opener over the number 16 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions, 3-1 on Friday. Another pair of top 10 matches coming for the Terps. They take on number 8 Michigan and number 9 Princeton. Both of those are over at field hockey and lacrosse on Friday and Sunday, and both can be seen on BTN+.
Moving on to volleyball. The Terps swept Seton Hall 3-0 last Friday. They play another pair of Big Ten opponents in Iowa and Nebraska, both on the road. Maybe I had to check this because I was a little bit surprised. Neither of those teams are ranked this year.
Yeah, that is super surprising. And now we'll head back over to Ludwig men's soccer. They ended up in a 2-2 draw with Penn State. The Terps took a red card on that, but were still able to find the equalizer late in the game. I believe there were about 4 minutes left when they found that. Maryland still without a loss at this point in the season, 5-0-2, and they've entered the rankings, Jordan, number 23 in the nation. And I'm telling you, they're College Cup bound. They'll have another Friday night matchup against Northwestern. Sasho shouted out, actually went at the fans to the Diamondback after only 2,500 saw that win over Pitt. So expecting a big crowd there at Ludwig on Friday night for the match against Northwestern.
Yeah, it's a bit of a I know this is something you want to talk about, Mason. Because back in the day, when we were in our first run of the podcast, Maryland was a powerhouse in soccer. And Mason and I actually grew up going to a lot of games at Ludwig on Friday nights. When they played Duke, Virginia, Georgetown, those big name opponents, Ludwig was packed. There was a lot of games I recall, Mason, where they were over capacity at Ludwig.
Yeah, and just has not been the case so far this year, but it'll be back there with the Terps surging into the top 25. Jordan, let's talk some Big Ten really quick. Last week, Let's just start off with the one that I think everyone's been talking about. Indiana 63, Illinois was it 10?
It was 10, and it was a shock to me, frankly.
Yeah, I had Illinois. I think I picked them here in the pod. I certainly picked them on DraftKings over the weekend. And it was ugly. I mean, Illinois was just not ready to play. A couple of guys that they expected to be on the field that weren't healthy. Player gets thrown out for targeting, and the wheels just come off the Illini bus. Very, very unlike a Brett Bielema coached team. Kurt Signetti has put together a roster that's packed. I've been an Indiana doubter. I know everybody was talking about it's a rough weekend for the Indiana doubters. It was, myself included. And I think we might be facing the noise that Indiana might be for real. But I still feel like they got to give it a couple weeks for one of the worst programs in the history of the FBS to prove themselves.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with you on that one, Mason. I mean, they did prove themselves, in my opinion. Like everybody was saying Illinois was legit. They got a top 10 ranking. They had a good year last year they were building off of, and they just housed Illinois. Like that game was not close at any point. I have some anti-establishment bias across college football because I feel like the establishment has destroyed college football, for being honest. So there's some of that built in here, and I'll fully admit that. But that said, Indiana, I mean, if they were another team with more reputable brand, you'd be saying they're top 5 worthy. The fact they're only ranked, I believe, 11 in the AP poll, to me, is just a crime. Like, few teams, and I know they played a very soft schedule before Illinois, and that is a factor. I understand that. But if you're going to say Illinois was number 9 and Indiana beat them by 53 points, I mean, what else can they do? That's just my take. I know there's a lot of people that don't agree with that, but that's just how I view it. I have a lot of issues with brand bias in college football.
Yeah, I think the rankings in the preseason, I don't know how you exist without them, but this is the result of that. A team that, was highly ranked, and yeah, it's based on last year's result, and they got a good win at Duke, and I don't know, they could bounce back. They can still make the playoff. But I think both of them just victim of that because Indiana clearly deserves a higher ranking than that. Looking at other action, Friday night, Iowa goes to Piscataway, beats Rutgers. And look, Rutgers is another one. They're just not that good.
No, they're not. But this is what I want to say, and this is why I want to make sure we talk about this game, because I'm talking to you, Terp Nation. Rutgers set the attendance record for their stadium at that game. 55,000, and I watched that game on TV. That place was packed. If Rutgers is outperforming us in these games, man, you can't talk down on them, Terps. Like, you can't. They had that place sold out. It was jumping. And, yeah, they lost. A good game, though. But they did lose, and that's unfortunate for them. But they packed it in, and there's no excuse at this point.
Yeah, I think this Iowa team just continues to show consistency under Coach Ferentz. And it shows year over year. They get better week over week. They're more sound on defense. They force big turnovers towards the end of the game. They got stops. The wheels came off for Rutgers late. Disappointed in some ways for them. In other ways, I think it's not funny, but I just was never a buyer of the Rutgers hype this year. I think we're in for a good game later in the year at Piscataway if Rutgers can kind of keep it together. This is a big test week for Greg Schiano going into that game against Minnesota. Can he keep his team together and keep them going in the right direction? I'm not sold on Minnesota or Rutgers. I think that's a game for both of those teams that's going to count towards 6. And we'll see what happens. Michigan against Nebraska, Jordan. Lincoln, always a great place for a game. Seems like for the last however many years, I think it's getting close to 10 plus, Nebraska just finds ways to lose football games.
It certainly does, and that's unfortunate. But I'm going to be honest, I wanted them to win that game. For those who watched it, I mean, they just couldn't, to your point, Mason, they just could not build momentum. They could not keep it together long enough to make a meaningful comeback. They were in the game, though. I'll give them credit for that. And for those who watched, Dylan Raiola on that first half Hail Mary, just incredible play right there. That was worth the entire experience of watching that game.
Yeah, great play from him. Looking forward to Nebraska kind of bouncing back a little bit more than they have so far. Michigan, solid one in the dub column. I think they're beatable right now. If you can stop the run, you can beat Michigan. They're back to that stage, but Sherrod Moore will be back in business here going forward, so we'll see where that lands. Last one, we want to recap USC hosts Michigan State. USC gets the win. Michigan State covers the 18. Shout out Mason for picking that game. I think that when Michigan State can't get the ball to Nick Marsh, Michigan State's not winning games. And it's just really that simple. I think that Jonathan Smith's building something for Sparty, but it's taking its time. USC, though, I think they might be for real. I think they can do some damage this year. They'll get a nice test on Big Noon this week.
Yes, which is a great segue, Mason, to these one of my rants of the week. These game times are getting ridiculous. Like Michigan State playing at 11 Eastern time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, that is, on the West Coast, and then USC playing at 9, was it 9 what Pacific time on Big Noon? It's like, come on, this is ridiculous. But that said, yes, Illinois and USC in a relatively large early matchup of the Big Ten here on Big Noon.
Yeah, I'm just going to go rapid fire here, Jordan, through this week's slate. USC at Illinois. I like USC going into this game. I think something's just wrong in Illinois.
Yeah, then aforementioned, Mason, big game for Rutgers at Minnesota, and maybe a bigger game for Minnesota, who just has to get back on track after a disastrous game at Cal.
Yeah, I think Minnesota runs the ball. I think they get through them. Looking at next week's matchup for the Terps, Ohio State makes the trip out to Seattle to take on Washington. Jordan, I like the Huskies. I like them.
Too,
I like
actually.
the defense. I like the environment. I don't like saying, and I think Washington gets it done.
Yeah, I saw on social media a lot of Ohio State fans very excited to make it after that game, and truthfully, I am too. When we play Washington, I want to be there because I've heard that's just an awesome place to go watch a game. One thing I left off our list here, Mason, that is worth a very brief mention in perhaps the most exciting game of the Big Ten season, UCLA at Northwestern.
Yeah, I like Northwestern in that one. I think the Cats, they're tough. David Braun's a good coach. UCLA doesn't have a coach. I think that's all you need to know. Jordan, Indiana at Iowa. Indiana, for me, I'm picking Iowa. Iowa at home in Kinnick against Indiana. One thing Indiana doesn't do is win in Iowa.
Yeah, that would be a very on-brand thing to happen for Iowa to win that game, for Indiana to lose. But we said the best for last, Mason. Maybe the game of the year in the Big Ten. And, we hate Penn State here, but you can't undersell this one. Oregon at Penn State, whiteout. I mean, I'm excited to watch this game. I'm very excited to watch this game. I'm sure you are too.
I'm really not. I haven't really been inspired by the way Penn State's been playing. It's been weak ever since week 1. The offense has been atrocious in the first half. They haven't been able to move the ball. Drew Aller's not on the same page as anybody. I think the Ducks roll. It's hard to roll a whiteout game, but if you watch these two teams, it's a night and day. And Oregon seemingly is the better team right now, but they play the game for a reason. It's crazy to say that in a top 5 matchup or top 10 matchup at the least. But I just feel like the Ducks, they're moving the ball well. They're playing great on both sides of the ball. They're so well coached. And Penn State, I'm not sold on. I'm not sold on the way they're playing. They score a lot in garbage time in some of these games, but against FIU, it was painful to watch them play. If things go wrong for Penn State, here's one thing I will enjoy. The Boo Birds will definitely be out for James Franklin.
Oh, absolutely. And that's, that's your storyline to me. Although, yeah, whiteout, this is one of the most expensive games in Penn State history. A friend of mine who went to Penn State was telling me that. Tickets exceeding $500 in the resale market right now. It's a contrast of coaches, though. I think Dan Lanning, personally, is one of the best coaches. He has a claim, now that Saban's out, to be the best coach in college football. I know he hasn't won anything yet, but he's really doing a great job there. Dan Lanning's a great coach. James Franklin, I know you're a Dan Franklin hater, Mason, but I got to agree with you on this one. It's hard to see him out coaching Dan Lanning, to be frank.
Yeah, I like the Ducks going into this one. Jordan, I thought you were going to say with Mike Gundy being gone that Dan Lanning has a claim to be the best head coach.
I do like Mike Gundy, and it's a shame the way things ended there. And I've seen a lot of Oklahoma State fans agree. It's time for him to go. But, look, Mike Gundy, great job at Oklahoma State, truly. Only 2 losing seasons, Mason. His first one and his last one.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm a huge Mike Gundy fan. Back to the Zach Robinson, to Justin Blackman days, and just the Des Bryant, and they were just such a high-profile program and team at one point, putting countless guys into the NFL. Here's one thing I don't agree with. Why'd you fire the guy now? Unless he's doing something wrong, what's the point? Let him coach out the season. You got to pay him anyway. The guy's been there for 20-something years. This team's not going to be better next week randomly or this week against Baylor because the coach is gone. I mean, maybe they dead cat bounce a little bit, but some people need to learn some respect in this sports world. I don't understand it. Like, I get it. Everything's earned every year, something new, especially in the portal era, but I don't understand. The guy's an Oklahoma State alumni. He's been there for 20-something years. Let the guy coach 10 more games. What's the difference?
That is fair. And I can agree with you on that one. Mike Gundy did earn the respect. He built that program he rescued it, to be frank. He really did. For those who are knowledgeable in college football history, Oklahoma State, very proud program, of course, Barry Sanders. But they were not good when he got there, and he built them into a powerhouse. I mean, this is crazy to say, Mason, they were 2 or 3 plays away from making the college football playoff a couple years ago.
There were 2-3 players from making the BCS championship a couple of times.
Yeah, he really did a great job. My hat's off to him. Hopefully, I'm sure he's unhappy, but hopefully he can take solace. And
hopefully he ends up on TV, Jordan, because that would be excellent.
I'm sure he will. But you said Zach Robinson, Mason, which is a great segue to Terps in the NFL. Zach Robinson, OC for the Atlanta Falcons, those of you who don't know. Mason, Terps in the NFL, not the best week for our Terps, to be frank.
No, but this list just keeps getting longer. Spencer Anderson does not appear in Pittsburgh's win. That sends us over to the Giants. Deonte Banks, only 19 snaps, only records a tackle in the loss to Kansas City. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a deadline deal here.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to make it in New York, to be frank. He's really struggled the last couple of years. Staying in the Giants, Mason Beaubray records a DNP, another guy. Hope sticks on the roster, but might not. Staying in the NFC East, Jacorian Bennett makes 2 tackles, plays mostly on special teams, makes a key block. I'm sure many of you saw on Jordan Davis's return for a touchdown. Disgusting for us Commanders fans. But sad news, I actually just saw before we got on here, Jacorian Bennett on IR for the Eagles now.
Yeah, tough to see for him in Philly, but I have a feeling he's going to be able to make it back there. I feel like they really liked the way he was playing and what he was providing for them. Over to the Ravens, Corey Bullock, he plays 3 snaps in the loss to the Lions. Heading out to Indy, Nick Cross, another solid performance for him, 7 tackles, including 5 solos.
Yes, and Stephon Diggs, who's unfortunately making a lot more headlines off the field than on the field right now. This is not TMZ. We're not going to talk about that. But on the field, Mason, 3 catches, 23 yards. A pretty big part of a disappointing Patriots offense so far.
I think he deserves his own segment on this show, Jordan. I think that might get us more views. Sticking with the receivers, Ty Felton catches his first NFL ball for 9 yards. 12 snaps for him on offense in, my opinion, the most surprising result of the weekend in the NFL, Minnesota stomping of Cincinnati.
I mean, you could say that, but also the Browns beat the Packers. So, I mean, DJ Glaze, who, again, us Commanders fans saw a lot of, played all right in a pitiful performance for the Raiders. But, I mean, unfortunately, he ended up on highlight reels as he gave up a sack to Von Miller, his first as a Commander.
Yeah, this Raiders offensive line is the worst in the league. And they cannot block. I don't know if it's a coaching problem. I don't know if it's a personnel problem. But they are struggling in all phases of the game right now. You can rush 3 and get sacks. Not a real good NFL offensive line. And DJ is feeling that.
Yeah, that is true. But his PFF grade is actually pretty middle of the pack. I did check that before he hopped on. Ruben Hippolyte, 8 snaps on defense, records a tackle. Ty Johnson, 3 carries, 13 yards, a catch for 8. DJ Moore, Mason, another Terp. We kind of hope to get more from this week. 4 catches, 21 yards, 3 carries for 7 yards. But in a blowout performance for the Bears, I mean, he's losing ground to Roma Duzé almost every week at this point.
Yeah, I still think that he's a threat. They're going to find a way to work him more into it. Heading out to Tennessee, Chigakonkwo, 5 catches for 66 yards. Offense is starting to pick up for Cam Ward and company for Tennessee, and they need it because on defense, there ain't much there. Out in San Francisco, Sammy O, career high in tackles, 7 for him on the day, played 64 of the defensive snaps, and Sammy O might be the only guy left on this roster by the time the season's over, the way the Niners are getting hurt.
Yeah, with Nick Bosa going out for the season, Sam will benefit with some more snaps. Jordan Phillips does not record any stats in Miami. Dante Trader plays 22% of defensive snaps, records 3 tackles, and a Dolphins team that I will admit does seem to be improving. It might not be enough, but they are improving.
Yeah, I think they're going to get there. There's too many weapons on that roster for them not to put some dubs in the column at some point this year. Chad Ryland out in Arizona goes 2 for 3, misses 1, but it was a long field goal that he misses in Arizona's disappointing loss to San Francisco. Jordan rounding it out. Tarheeb still, he gets 3 tackles, played every single defensive snap in the Chargers win over Denver. And Josh Woods, he's still out there on special teams in Atlanta. And we'll see him play against the Commanders this weekend. And rounding it out with the new Terp, who is now a Commander, Darnell Savage. Didn't spend much time on the free agent market out there. He is now a Washington Commander after being released by the Jags. And I have hope for Darnell Savage. I think he can do some good things here. I think he can get back to the way he was playing in Green Bay. Now with the hometown team, the former good counsel Falcon, now a Washington Commander.
Yes, and I'll give Mason credit. This was not on air, unfortunately, but he did call it when I told him that Will Harris was out for probably the season. Hopefully not, though. He did say Darnell Savage right away, and so he called that one. But Darnell Savage seems very excited to be wearing burgundy and gold. He posted a picture on his Instagram of him in an old, I think, a Sean Springs Redskins jersey, somewhere along those lines. So he's happy to be home. We're happy to have him. I mean, Mason, I can't remember. He might be the first Terp to be wearing the burgundy and gold since Vernon Davis. Is that right?
I don't know if it's quite that far back, but it's definitely the first of the Dan Quinn era.
Yes, it certainly is. But that's our show for today, Mason. Action-packed, a lot going on. Sidney Stewart, again, fantastic. A lot of news to cover. And we got some exciting things coming up that we're not going to disclose just yet, but it's a good time to be a Terp Talk podcast fan.
With that being said, subscribe to us wherever you got the show, whether it's on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, wherever it is. Drop us a like, drop us a subscribe. Really helps us out here on the show. And as always, thanks for listening.